In today's video, we'll be taking a look at why this chart at this price is the most important for us to be looking at in the markets right now. We'll also be talking about technical analysis levels for the Sp 500, Nasdaq, AMC, GME, Tesla, Bitcoin, dollar index, and more. We saw the rise of the super squeezes yesterday. AMC putting on almost over 100% on the close. Phenomenal stuff, big things to come. Stay tuned to find out more. And we'll start our recap by talking about the heat map for the Sp 500 and whether any large moves were happening yesterday in the big stocks. We saw continuation of energy stocks, real estate stocks, financial, and semiconductors coming out strong. In fact, Nvidia is still continuing to do really well in that case. And when we go over to the actual indices, you'll notice that they all generally kind of just petered out near the end of the day with some roundish numbers. 0.17 up by the Nasdaq, Sp 500, 0.15. Nothing too much to note there. When we go and have a look at the sectors though, energy with that breakout in oil that we've been discussing was the best market. Then we had real estate, then we had technology, utilities coming up here, and really the only bad one was materials, and it wasn't even that bad for the session. When we're going around and we're talking about what happens through the markets, we always want to know what's going on with, of course, earnings. Earnings Whispers is a good one. We're not sponsored by them, but I do like to bring it up. We saw Splunk near the close yesterday, and of course, Thursday session, we will have the CrowdStrike, DocuSign, and a few others coming out. Some pretty big names there, but earnings season is starting to wrap up now. Let's now go and have a look at our technical analysis, and I think the best place to start is going to be the dollar index, because the US dollar index is continuing to really struggle and reject certain zones. So this is our 8-hour trend line that we've been watching, and it shows you here, and I think this is one of the most important things for us to get out of this chart, is the close is the key. Do we see here how we've got rejection, rejection, big movement up, followed by rejection, big movement up, followed by rejection. The US dollar clearly is trying to go bullish during certain parts of the market. It's usually doing it around that European session, Asian session, and then it's failing by the end of New York close. Will this continue on with more bearishness? This is a really critical point here for gold and silver traders, because if we don't see follow through, like let's say you get a closure now above this candle, so a candle closes above this wick, you guys know that I believe that's incredibly bullish for the US dollar. Now, if you get some follow through and it moves down underneath this, and we've got this 1-2 combo meal deal here with the two rejections, I'm thinking we're going to new lows. In fact, I think we're even going to take out these points here. So we'll be following dollar index incredibly closely over the next couple of days, probably laser eye focus in on this. Very interesting stuff coming in here from the daily. Two big rejections. Will the follow through occur? So when we're talking about US dollar index, we obviously have to talk about gold. We summarized yesterday that we think that the most important zone is always going to be around this 1890 for gold. And if it fails to hold above this level, obviously this current shorter term, medium term, whatever you want to call it, uptrend is probably over for now. But it's going strong again. It's back above this 1904 level. We're still consolidating. Our eventual aim is 1930 and our second aim is 1960, and we've explained that quite a few times here on the channel through the last couple of days. We've got a lot to cover today, so really it's as simple as go to the moving averages, notice the moving averages such as the 20 moving average here on the 8 hour. I've been holding it up and hopefully it continues to do so. There's the trend line that goes through the last lows, follow it that way. Silver, very similar. We got finally above 28,125, so 28 plus closed on the daily here. We've got a big trend line that goes back all the way through the previous lows. It held again. It found some nice bullish action, good close. This could actually signal, considering all the squeezing we're seeing going on, possibly silver now starts to move towards that 30 bracket. With what we saw in the dollar index yesterday, with what we're seeing in AMC and GME, BlackBerry, and all these other squeezes, last time around, one of the last ones to move was, of course, silver. Here's the move that happened. You could see what happened on the weekend. Big demand, pushed it into 30. So will that happen again? Well, I tell you what, everyone in retail is getting very excited. And there might be some huge money as well being made in AMC right now. I'm sure a few of you in the comments down below have done quite well. Let's move over now to US oil, another commodity that's spiking here, 69 on oil. What a great trade, guys. This is a fantastic trade. I know it's not as exciting as AMC right now, but we got that closure above. Then we've seen significant green pressure every single one of these days. First level, I think that's going to have some problems, 72, but you guys know that I'm aiming for the 75, 76. Very good trade. I expect pullbacks to occur throughout it. It doesn't just usually go vertical like this. It generally kind of goes up 2 steps, one down, 1 step, up 2 steps, down 1 step, etc. Watch the 2 hour 20. Let's go down to the 2 hour. So 2 hour 20 is the current line that it's following. See how we've been able to ascertain that? We ascertained that yesterday around here, or 2 days ago around here. Then we've had some nice little entries for day trade scalps through this 20 line. So keep watching that one. It's a good one. Now, guys, let's move over to this. And I want to put this in context. Let's click 4 hours. Wow. Can I say anything else? Holy moly, guys. You guys are crazy. That is phenomenal. We theorized it would come back down during the early morning session to the previous peaks because, of course, when you go out and you look at the weekly here, you'll notice this was the all-time highs for AMC. But did I expect yesterday to get up near the 70s? Absolutely not. This is very, very big. Now, there's some things to go into this, and we need to think about this. Firstly, AMC's current market valuation. It's very important with these squeezes to understand the size. We're at around the same point the GME started kind of topping out as well. We had that $30 billion plus. Do you know where this stops? Absolutely not. You can't tell because it's not really following technicals. It's obviously following a huge amount of euphoria, huge amount of FOMO, and the squeeze principles of people are going to have to cover at some point, depending on how deep they are. Now, that is a phenomenal move. And I think that you will have to go down very small time frame to find any moving average or anything else that's holding it through. The only thing when I was doing some analysis of this morning that I noticed was there was a very thin trend line that came through these points as it was trying to move its way up. But as you guys know, look, I was thinking maybe every $5 was going to be important. It got to 50, sold off barely, went down $3, which is still quite a lot, but not in these type of moves. And then it's just chunking every point. So I guess with this, you've got to have a plan. What is your plan? Is your plan to take a third at different levels? Is your plan to hold to 10,000 like everyone wants to? You do have to have a plan because you never want to be sitting there regretting a decision that you've made. And you've always got to think about, well, what is that decision going to be? Is it going to be holding it through? Is it going to be reducing some position at some point because it's making a literal life-changing thing to your life? Like it could be doing that if you had some good money on here. And this is the level that starts to get a bit scary from the 30 billion. That's around the same market capitalization size again as GME. Can it go to 100? Absolutely. Will it have a huge amount of sellers at 100? I would say there would be big amounts here because some people have that as their eventual aim. Some people have 1,000. Some people have 10,000. I've seen all crazy numbers being thrown out there, but phenomenal stuff. Little trend line here in the morning. We'll be watching it live together with you guys. Now, GME, that hit our first target, 280. Perfect. Absolutely exactly where we wanted it to go. So we've been theorizing ever since 240, 280 was the next level. And then after that point, then of course you've got the 345, 350 zone as the next zone. So we get a little closure above this 280. All of a sudden we could be looking at 350 plus. And a lot of people are talking 1K on this. And the reason why, I guess, is because of things like this crypto dividend concept and stuff like that. It obviously excites people and gets everyone into it. Let's move over to Tesla here. Tesla came down, hit the 600. Good little buy zone if you're interested in Tesla. This is previous support, previous resistances. Tesla must hold this level. It's been very disappointing. If we compare it to something like NEO, and we bring NEO on the charts, look how good NEO has been. So we had that trend line that got broken through. We got above 35, and that signaled some nice buying pressure up to the 42 zone. So NEO has been really great, while Tesla has really stumbled. So I think Tesla fans, the problem is there's something wrong here in the markets. Clearly, we're seeing some technical move. We're still aiming for that 666, but we need 600 to hold pretty bad now because that's not the type of movement that we would like to have. Let's have a look at the Nasdaq. The Nasdaq is still trapped. Boring, I hear some people say. I don't mind it. I actually think that if the Nasdaq breaks the top side here on the 4 hour, remember 4 hour confirmation is going to be key. Closure is what I'm talking about here. Closure above, we're looking at 14K. Closure below, we're looking at 13.4. We don't really mind. We're going to call this completely neutralize this market because it's just going around like this. But we've trapped it really well. We've been trapped here for quite a few days. And we even had some nice little trades off the low here yesterday, which enabled some day trades, some scalps to go on. So I think there's been some trades in here that haven't been exciting compared to AMC, but certainly it's on its way up now to the 13,750. We're looking for a closure there. And of course, then we'll check it out on the Nasdaq, and you'll notice this level is just so important. 13.7, about 50. Daily close will be the key. Go over to the daily. You can see red, red. Let's get a green above that. Rejection. Then we can move towards that 14,000 zone. Let's have a look at the S&P 500. What is going on with the S&P 500? Nothing much. To put it bluntly, nothing much. Lots of strange trade all over the place. In fact, I think that when you take a look at that one, it becomes, as in the futures, it becomes all a little bit too much. The clear level here is 4180 for the support. The resistance, of course, we've got it around that 42.35. Our aim is to go back to the community trend line, which goes through all of these previous peaks. You can see how good it's been to us. We've had this one on our charts for a very, very long time. And yeah, new high. Let's go to the community trend line. If we get under 41.80, hey, we've got to go bearish for a little bit here. So we'll keep watching the S&P 500, but at this point, nothing to speak of. Basically, it's like silence. While this AMC GME thing goes on, the market's moving in hyperstonks. So we saw things like Airbnb come in strong yesterday and a few other good hyperstonks. However, S&P 500 itself, the big companies, pretty boring. Lots of rotation each way. Healthcare still remains something I'm looking at in June, and we'll continue to follow it here on the channel. Let's move over here to crypto. We'll end today with crypto. And basically, look, Bitcoin has made a new high, hit the 38K. If we take a look at our trend line, the only one that I'm actually using right now, which is this, it's basically finding some coiling pressure before that. If it gets through the top of these peaks, I think we're going back to 42,000, and then we'll see whether the bulls really can get control of Bitcoin. And on the bottom side, you've clearly got now this little bit of pressure that could be coming through with the 20 and the 50 exponential. I'm not really trading very technically on Bitcoin. I think if you're wanting to invest certain levels, you can, but Bitcoin's been kind of faking out a little bit each way. So you can see all these wicks. There's a lot of indecision here in the market, a lot of FUD, still a lot of problems. It's been a lot of transactions as well going over to Ethereum, which is a bit stronger, ADA, Cardano, etc. All of these things are going on. There's a lot of turmoil, and until we get back above 3,000 for Ethereum and back above 42 to 42.5 for BTC, we don't really know the worst is over. Now, a lot of people talk about Wyckoff theory or Wyckoff theory. Effectively, that accumulation zone down the bottom, if we're discussing that point, it's still going on. You know, we haven't seen a break above to actually say, okay, this is over. There could be some big short-term pain where it just comes down, sells off, looks like, of course, a lot of fear coming back into the market, and that might also be an opportunity for crypto holders. All right, guys, well, I hope you had a great day today. I hope everyone made as much money as possible yesterday in the market. Some phenomenal moves. Clearly, it's good to be alive if you're in AMC and GME, and we'll see you in either today's live show, 1.5 hours before New York Open, where we'll be covering all that stuff, or in our next daily recap video. Bye for now. Have a great day.